everybody. My name is Steve Ross with the Artists and Athletes Alliance, and I want to welcome you to our reception honoring ServiceNation. For those of you that are not familiar with the Artists and Athletes Alliance, we're a nonprofit, educational, and charitable organization that sits at the nexus between the entertainment and creative community and the policymakers, decision makers, and opinion leaders in Washington, D.C. We educate our members, which are musicians, athletes, actors, industry, on public policy and national and international issues. When the inaugural festivities began yesterday, they began with a National Day of Service. And we cannot think of a more appropriate organization to honor tonight than ServiceNation. As President Obama begins his second term in office, the Artists and Athletes organization wanted to honor those who serve on the front lines of our nation's greatest challenges. Tonight, we are extremely proud to be joined by several dozen men and women who have served our country in uniform and now continue to serve our country in other capacities. Before we begin tonight's program, I'd like to thank our sponsors for helping us tonight. We'd like to thank American Gas Association, the Edison Electric Institute, and the Nuclear Energy Institute. We'll say it again. Thank you, Nuclear Energy Institute. Sorry. We'd like to thank UCLA, which is Artists and Athletes educational partner. We'd like to thank AT&T. We'd like to thank the American Continental Group. And we'd like to thank Rosemont Seneca Partners. So thank you to our sponsors for helping us put on this event tonight. Let's have a round of applause for our sponsors. I'd now like to introduce Ken Harbaugh, the Executive Director of ServiceNation.
Thanks so much, Steve. And thanks to all of you for coming out tonight. It is a real honor to be in your company. And a special shout out to, where's Wendy Spencer, CEO of the Corporation for National and Community Service, Will McNulty, co-founder of Team Rubicon. We're going to hear a little bit more about what Team Rubicon has done and is doing, and I think it'll be truly inspiring to all of you. And to all of the artists and athletes who are joining us this evening. As Executive Director of ServiceNation, there is really just one thing I want to leave all of you with, besides the open bar. It's the realization that this generation of veterans has a great deal left to give their country. That might sound like a tough idea to wrap your head around, especially after everything we've already asked of them. After, as Attorney General Biden said, after 10 years, a full decade of war, what more could we possibly ask? But the truth is that if you talk to almost any veteran of my generation, what you'll hear is what they want more than anything is to continue to be valued and to continue to be needed by their communities and by their country. At ServiceNation, we're working towards a day when every veteran who wants a chance to continue serving their country has the opportunity to do that. I promised our sponsors I wouldn't talk about legislation, but I would like to highlight a couple of veterans whose work epitomizes that ideal. But first, let me tell you why I think that is so important. Over the next 5 years, more than 1 million service members are going to return to civilian life. 1 million. That number frightens a lot of people. It's tough times after all. But it's a mistake to see that as a problem. At ServiceNation, we see that as an opportunity, an incredible opportunity to reinvigorate our communities as these million servicemen and women are effectively redeployed throughout the country. Think about the skills and the passion and the dedication they bring back with them. It would be foolish not to take advantage of that. We are incredibly lucky tonight to have someone whose entire adult life has been about serving the nation. She's going to introduce Team Rubicon and our two superstars tonight. Representative Tulsi Gabbard served as an enlisted woman in the United States Army, deployed to Iraq, served as an officer in the military police, deployed to Kuwait, and is continuing that service to our country as a United States representative from the great state of Hawaii. As a former Navy pilot, I think we can forgive her for joining the Army. Everybody makes mistakes. But please join me in welcoming Representative Tulsi Gabbard.
I feel like Ken and I need to have a conversation outside. The best thing that you said, though, is you said from the great state of Hawaii, and that is true. I want to say aloha and imua to all of you. It is inspiring to hear your words, Ken, and inspiring to see this filled room with people who are here to support this great mission and this great cause. I feel privileged to have served alongside so many incredible selfless heroes, and that has been really my biggest motivation to run for Congress. Now, as a 2-week-old member of Congress representing Hawaii, feel excitement every single day because there is so much work to be done. I'm honored to be one of the first of 2 female combat veterans ever elected to Congress in our nation's history, and to give voice to the countless women who have volunteered dating back to the founding of our country to serve. Back then in the Civil War, they had to disguise themselves as men so that they could go out. And now we still have work to do. Over 1.8 million women veterans all across the country, countless mothers, daughters, sisters, even grandmothers, voluntarily putting their lives on the line every single day. And a great privilege and responsibility that I feel to give them voice and to speak of the great contributions that they give to our country. A lot of times I run into veterans who feel badly that they are somehow pitied by some, that veterans somehow need a handout when they come home, or that they are less than or less whole than they were before they left to go serve. And as Ken said, nothing could be further from the truth. You have people who come back, know what it means to work as a member of a team, understand at the deepest level what it means to put the mission first, who can make decisions and act under the most stressful, most high-pressure situations. How is it not the case that veterans are not at the top of every single recruitment list for business, education, nonprofit, and government? I think it's our responsibility as a community, as a country, to let all of our returning veterans know that we will work hard every day to empower them so that we as a country can benefit from all that they have to contribute. 2 such people who have continued carrying on their contributions, I'm very, very proud and honored to introduce tonight because they embody what it means to be a servant leader. Servant leadership is necessary in every single sector in our community and is actually the answer to many of the challenges we face in all different industries, especially in Congress. We have 2 veterans who've continued to serve here at home, who've spent their time, energy, and resources dedicated to addressing some of our nation's most pressing needs with Team Rubicon. First, I'd like to introduce J.C. McGrean, is that right? There you are. He's a former United States Army warrant officer with numerous deployments, including to Afghanistan. J.C. is also a paramedic certified by the National Registry of Emergency Medical Technicians and is currently studying to become a cardiac perfusionist. He has experience in technical rescue and tactical wilderness and emergency medicine, and this past October and November awesomely stepped up to the plate to direct the Sandy relief effort for Team Rubicon across the entire state of New Jersey, leading scores of veteran volunteers through multiple job sites, including hard-hit areas like Brick and Union Beach. He coordinated this effort with limited support from headquarters and overcame numerous logistical and bureaucratic obstacles along the way. Please give JC a round of applause. Thank you. The second person I have the honor of introducing is Cal Verdin, who retired from the United States Army after 20 years on active duty, including 17 years as a medic. He deployed to Iraq twice, and after his last tour in 2007, he took on his final assignment, instructing Army reservists on tactical combat casualty care as they prepared for overseas deployments. After his retirement in 2010, Cal continued his education at Grantham University, where he received his Bachelor's of Science in Criminal Justice. As part of Team Rubicon's operations in response to Hurricane Sandy, Cal was instrumental in the establishment of Forward Operating Base Hope in Rockaway, New York. He served as the de facto first sergeant at the base, which means he's the guy who got stuff done, helping direct more than 10,000 spontaneous civilian volunteers throughout the site. Cal and Team Rubicon volunteers in the Rockaways completed over 900 work orders in less than 40 days of operations. These two gentlemen are the best that our nation has, and let's give them both a warm welcome here tonight.
Thank you for the introduction. I don't know about the best, but I'd like to think that JC and myself, like many other veterans out there, still have a lot to give. And that is why we do what we do. As veterans, we volunteered not once, but in some cases to go either first to join, then perhaps depending on your skill set you chose, airborne school, maybe Ranger, Special Forces, pararescue, you volunteered again for those additional training opportunities. So we're multiple volunteers. We chose to better ourselves so that we could be better at our job, more proficient, so that in the times of crisis, we could do more. We'd have more assets to bring to the table. And as a veteran now, being out working, having the privilege of being a volunteer, still a volunteer with Team Rubicon, we're bringing those fruits to bear. And that a lot of the skill sets that I learned in the Army after a long, successful, and great career, I'd like to think, I'm bringing a lot of that to the table. Leadership, as was previously stated, the ability to put the mission first. Always to get done what needs to be done before yourselves, but never the troops. Running the FOB, the position that I chose to take upon there in New York in the Rockaways it became more challenging for me. And as difficult as it was in some cases to release the reins that I needed to, I felt it imperative to be more successful. I had to be less in charge. In that, find another veteran that had a skill set like a Marine officer, Joe McHugh, who came up to me one day and said, "Cal, you're overwhelmed. What can I do to help?" And I asked him, "What can you do?" And he said, "I was a logistician in the Marine Corps. Can I help?" I thought about it. I said, "Give me a second." I turned around and I said, "Yeah, you got it. Now go handle logistics for me, sir." To have a Marine Corps officer come to an Army NCO to ask for help or to offer his help, basically for permission, it was a first for me. It really was. And I couldn't have done it without him. I couldn't have done it without the countless Marines, seamen, the other Army folks, the airmen, all these folks out there, all these veterans, and these civilians that are out there volunteering with us. They empowered us to be more effective as veterans, because what we had were 200 veterans in the Rockaways in New York, where I was, providing aid for these homeowners that lost everything. What it turned into was 200 veteran-led teams that we were able to do. I can't even tell you how much more good for the community than we would have done with just those 200. So we were effective across the board, and I'd like to thank everyone that's not here that contributed to that, but know that I'm just one member of a team, and we're all together, veterans alike. We have the same common goal. We want to continue to serve. We want to continue to give in any capacity. We want to support. We want to provide leadership, mentorship, work from the ground up, put the gloves on, get dirty, put a suit and tie on, and represent other veterans, other organizations out there that have really good programs to offer benefits to veterans. So support them. Hire veterans first. Reach out to veterans, see what you can do to help them. You may not know one, but you know somebody that is a veteran. So thank you all for coming tonight. Have fun. And let me introduce JC.
There's really not too much to say after Cal. Basically, I'm just going to echo exactly what he said, which was we're just a mere representation of the veterans out there. We're not superstars or anything, or heroes by any means. We have the same skill set that 2 million veterans have. They're out within your community. Everyone goes into the military with a sense of purpose. They want to contribute to the country in any way they can. When they get out, they still have that sense of purpose. Through venues like Team Rubicon and other organizations out there, we allow those veterans to give back and continue to serve this country. So just like Cal said, I echo those sentiments. Please, if there's any veterans out there, think of them as far as jobs, opportunities, volunteer opportunities, things like that. You'd be surprised what they can come up with. You'd be surprised how many veterans there are amongst you. But again, we're not superstars, we're not special. We just did what we were trained to do. We did what any other veteran could do. Anybody else could step up and do what we did in New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia, and other things like that. But we sincerely appreciate the recognition for our continued service and for our accomplishments. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate everything.